Pillay here from undergroundsuccess.com, and you can also find more videos like this at twitter.com/myfriendnero. Now in this quick video I want to share with you 7 tips to dramatically increase your productivity. You see, right now we have so much to do in our lives. We're all just so busy, it just seems that we have always more to do and just in less time. So how on earth can we get more done? Because one thing for sure, we can't get more time. We only have 24 hours in a day. That's the same commodity that whether you're rich, you're poor, you're ugly or you're good looking, whatever the case is, you're intelligent or you're dumb, it doesn't matter. You only have 24 hours in your day. And one of the keys to success, if you ask anybody, is how do you maximize your time every day over a long period of time. So the first thing that you really want to do is at the end of every day, you want to write down your success 6, as I call it. The top 6 things that you must do tomorrow in order to move you closer towards your goals. Now obviously I'm assuming you have goals, you know exactly what it is that you need to do either in your job, in your life, in your business, whatever the case is, but make sure that at the end of every night you don't leave your work desk until you've written down your top 6 things that you need to achieve tomorrow. Okay, once you do that, when you walk into work the next morning, if you go into your office or whatever the case is, here's a tip. Number 2, aim to do at least 1 hour's work before you open your email. Now I know if you're like me and most other people I know, the first thing you do is you walk in the office, you turn on your emails. And you see who's emailed you overnight, you look at, is there any crisis, what's happened, who do I need to respond to, and if you're like how I used to be, 2 or 3 hours could go like this, and you really look back and you go, what have I achieved? Okay, so really aim for that first hour of the day, even if you need to get into work a little bit earlier, aim to do 1 hour's worth of work before you read any emails. Obviously, what are you going to do during that hour? You're going to work on your top 6 things, or at least the topmost item on your list of your top 6 things as well. Then another one is just, these days multitasking seems to be the key word. It's like, how many things can you do at one time? Can you juggle 3 balls in the air? Can you be on the phone? Can you be working on something weird and doing 4 or 5 different things at once? And it seems the person who can do 5 or 10 different things at once, they're supposed to be productive. The truth is that could not be more wrong. To be productive, you need to stop multitasking. Now I know that might sound really weird, but especially if you're an internet marketer or if you're anyone who works with your head and you need to work on single tasks with single-minded focus. So if you're trying to do a blog article, or if I'm trying to do this video right now, if I'm trying to talk to you and be on the phone and juggle some balls in the air and and have my lunch, the video may look a bit more of a comedy than it needs to, right? So just get out there and make sure that when you're working on something, work on one thing at one time. Don't multitask. Also, especially when you're working on your most important priorities, create chunks of time. What do I mean by chunks of time? Create 45 minutes to maybe an hour and a half of just focused time, uninterrupted time, where you can focus on one thing at a time. Now I know the moment I say that, some of you are going, oh, gee, how can you say that, Nero? People come and knock on my door, my phone's always ringing, either the kids want something or my boss wants something, whatever the case is, how can I create time? That's what you need to do, whether it's earlier in the morning, whether it's in the evenings, whether it's during lunchtime when no one else is in the office. If you have your own office, maybe you close the door and place do not disturb on there for a while, whatever it is. And if your calendar's constantly getting busy, people filling up your calendar, put in your calendar appointments, and they're appointments with yourself. Time when you simply focus on 1 or 2 of your most important things, and you focus on that with single-minded focus, just on the one thing. But if you're like me, in the moment, you write down your top 6 things and you work out, this is my most top priority, now I've got an hour and a half to just work on that, and everything else is clear from your mind and your desk, and you focus on one task. The moment you start working on something, guess what? Other stuff enters your head. Stuff you need to do. Perhaps you need to, pick up your kids this evening, or you've got to get that card because it's your partner's anniversary, or you've got to do whatever, and your stuff comes up. Emails you need to send, people need to follow up. I mean, for me, I find that, especially when I started this, my brain would just go nuts, would just keep chattering away. I'm like, oh my goodness, and I could just not focus. So what did I do? I got myself a set of these. Hopefully you can see them there. Just post-it notes, little, maybe about inch by inch, little post-it notes. And so whenever something comes into my head, the first thing I do is I write down a piece of paper. But I get it out of my head, because really, as Albert Einstein said, you don't want to remember anything you can write down. Don't use your head to memorize short-term stuff. That is the worst possible use for your brain. Instead, use your brain for creativity, for coming with new ideas, if you're internet marketer, writing long articles, coming up with great quality content and output. Don't use it to store short-term stuff. Get it out of your head, get it onto pieces of paper. So what I do is I write it on these post-it notes. I just put them on my desk, just write them down. Of course, I also have my top 6 priorities. If something comes up out of my head that's more important than those top 6 priorities that I've got there, then I go and tend to it. But that happens maybe 1 in 100 times. The other 99 times, it's just stuff that I know needs to get done, but I don't need to do it right now. And generally, if you're like me, I would feel like I had to do it right now because I'd forget it. So now I'd write it down, get it out of my head, and go back to my most important task. And then, as that happens, my mind gets clear, anything comes up, I can write it down and move on. Just move on. Okay? And then, I also said come back and look at it. Is it more important than my top 6 things? If not, keep focusing. And at the end of my day, I'll look at all my tasks and all these little pieces of paper. What I'll do is I will arrange them in a particular order. So on my whiteboard, I have, for example, I have business, I have admin, I have relationships, and some other categories. And so what I do is, whatever's come up for me, I then take these post-it notes that I've got on my table and stick them on a whiteboard or a corkboard or whatever you have in these particular areas. So that way I know that I can take a snapshot of my entire life and work out exactly where it's all at. Then I can prioritize. That way I now have order from chaos. Okay, so whenever something comes into my head, I write on these post-it notes, allows me to focus on my most important things. At the end of each day, I'll look at my list of everything I need to do, which is like, you know, on a board with all the different areas of my life. Remember, you want to have a sense of balance. And I look at all the post-it notes, and from that, along with my goals, I then create my top 6 things for the next day. Now, another tip as well is that if you're like me, some of your best ideas come when you don't have a piece of paper. And you're just walking somewhere, or you're just chilling out, and that's when stuff comes to you, and you're like, oh, I need to write this down. And sometimes you don't have a piece of paper. So what I do is, and if you've got any kind of modern phone, they'll have a voice recorder on it. And I will simply get my phone out and just record something in there. Just talk to so-and-so about this project, or whatever it is, and then record it, get it out of my head, and I'm done. Then when I go back to my desk, whenever it's back to time for me to go back to work, I can get back there and I can review what I've spoken. And often I've forgotten by this stage, I've got it out of my head, and that way I know I'm never going to forget anything important. And at the same time, it allows me to keep focused when I'm focused at work. At the same time, when I'm relaxed, often people these days, they struggle to relax because they're just trying to keep so many things in their head. Get it out of your head. One of the key things to productivity is 2 things. Number 1, focus on the most important things and focus, single-minded focus for chunks of time. And secondly, get the stuff out of your head. Don't use your head for your short-term memory. And the final thing is, when you look at all your list of things, work out what you can delegate. It's all about trying to achieve more by doing less. That doesn't mean you don't work hard, but it means focus on your strength, and if it's something you can delegate out because either you don't enjoy it, or it'll take you much longer to get it done than doing something else what you're really good at, delegate it out there. You know, whether you outsource it, whether you've got staff, whether you've got a partner who can help you out, whatever it is, outsource everything you can so you're focusing only on your top priorities. And if you focus on these things, I guarantee you, if you follow the tips that I've outlined in this little video, your productivity will go through the roof. You will wonder how you're getting so much more done in so little time. And you'll be far more relaxed. And not only will you notice a great sense of inner peace, but everyone around you will notice it as well. It's worked for me. I know it can work for you. Give this a go. If you think what I've said makes sense, please leave me a comment below.